Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. In the spotlight tonight are Aidan Lynch, a primary school teacher whose specialist subject is Kenneth Williams. Laura Kirkbride, an NHS planning manager who'll be answering questions on UK hit singles from 2000 to 2004. Helen Nicklin, a procurement manager, her subject is Ada Lovelace. And Kieran Leahy, an examination officer whose specialist subject is the history of the Rugby World Cup. Four contenders, as usual, poised to seize their moment in the spotlight where they will be tested on what they know about their specialist subject and what they might or might not know about the wider world in the general knowledge round. 2 minutes on one, 2.5 on the other, and the clock makes no allowances. Let us ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Aidan Lynch.
Your occupation?
Primary school teacher.
And your chosen subject?
Kenneth Williams.
Kenneth Williams, the star of those Carry On films. Here we go. Williams was born in London in 1926. He had a difficult relationship with his father, Charlie, but was very close to his mother. What was her first name?
Louisa.
Yeah. At the age of 9, Williams made his stage debut as a princess in a school production of a play based on a story by William Makepeace Thackeray. What was his title?
The Rose and the Ring.
Yep. Williams was called up to the army in 1944 and sent for training at Carlisle Castle. He enjoyed army life, got on well with his fellow recruits who gave him a nickname based on his first and middle initials. What nickname?
Casey.
Yep. Williams kept a diary for much of his life. On the personal memoranda page, he noted his height, weight and other information. What did he write down as his hat size?
5.5.
7. Williams' first work for television was in a BBC adaptation of an H.G. Wells novel in which he plays an angel. What was the title of the programme?
The Wonderful Visit.
Yep. He starred with Barbara Windsor in a number of Carry On films. They first met on the set of which film in the series?
Carry On... Constable.
Spying. After an appearance on Jukebox Jury, Williams received a letter of complaint from one Edna Wellthorpe in which she claimed his remarks were quite uncalled for and tasteless in the extreme. Which of Williams' friends was the real author of the letter?
Joe Orton.
Yes. Williams co-starred in several radio comedies during the 50s and 60s, including Hancock's Half Hour and Beyond Our Ken. When Eric Merriman, the scriptwriter of Beyond Our Ken, left the show in 1964, the cast stayed together, fresh writers were enlisted, and a new programme was created. What was its title?
Round the Horn.
Yep. In Round the Horn, Williams and Hugh Paddock played the camp unemployed actors Julian and Sandy, who spoke a form of underground slang used by gay people before the decriminalisation of homosexuality. They used words such as caffies for trousers and luppers for fingers. What's the name of this form of slang?
Polari.
Yes. For most of his career, Williams employed Peter Eade as his agent. But when the agency closed after Eade's death, he took on a replacement. Williams supposedly passed him on the street one day and called out, "Oh, you'll do." What was his name?
Anderson.
Yes, Michael Anderson. No passes, Aidan. You have scored 8 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Laura Kirkbride.
Your occupation?
NHS planning manager.
And your chosen subject?
UK hit singles 2000 to 2004.
In 2 minutes, starting now, Pure and Simple is the title of a 2001 chart-topping single by a British group formed from the 5 winners of the first UK series of the reality TV show Pop Stars. What was the name of the group?
Here, sir.
Yep. Which 2004 hit by McFly begins with the words, "Recently, I've been hopelessly reaching out for this girl who's out of this world." It was the group's second UK #1 single.
Year 3000?
Obviously. Which award-winning British musician and composer produced the All Saints hits Pure Shores and Black Coffee? His other production credits in the early 2000s include American Pie by Madonna and Feel Good Time by Pink.
William Orbit.
Yep. Which British pop group recorded the 2001 BBC Children in Need official single, Have You Ever? They'd also recorded the previous year's Children in Need single, Never Had a Dream Come True.
S Club 7.
Yeah. What's the title of the best-selling single of 2004 that did not reach the #1 spot? This single, by Anastasia, peaked at #3 and spent 15 weeks in the top 20 without ever topping the chart.
Left outside alone?
Yeah. Avril Lavigne, who has been described on one music website as the Joan Jett of 2000's pop and rock, had a string of hit singles, including Complicated and Skater Boy, both in 2002. She was born and grew up in which country?
Canada.
Yes. What's the stage name of the British singer, musician and DJ born Sonia Marina Clark? She topped the UK singles chart for 3 weeks in 2000 with It Feels So Good.
Sonique.
Yep. In late 2004, the New York City group The Scissors Sisters followed up their earlier hit Laura with another top 20 single, which had a girl's name as its title. What name?
Pass.
The 2003 Christmas #1 single was a cover of the Tears for Fears song Mad World. This version of the song by Michael Andrews and Gary Jules was recorded for a film released in 2001. What film?
Donnie Darko.
Yep. In November 2000, the Irish boy band Westlife had their 7th consecutive #1 single as a lead or featured artist with the song My Love, which follow-up single that peaked at #2 in December that year broke this sequence.
What Makes a Man?
Yep. Kylie Minogue's hugely successful 2001 single Can't Get You Out of My Head, which was originally considered for S Club 7, was composed by 2 former pop stars. One was the Mud guitarist Rob Davis, who was the other?
Pass.
Well, I can tell you because your time is up. It was Kathy Dennis. And the girl's name in that other hit single for the Scissors Sisters was Mary. You have scored, Laura, 8 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Helen Nicklin,
Your occupation?
procurement manager.
And your chosen subject?
Ada Lovelace.
Ada Lovelace, the woman considered by many to be the world's first computer programmer. Ada Lovelace was born Augusta Ada Byron in London in 1815, but her parents soon separated and she was taken to her mother's family's residence in a village in Leicestershire. Which village?
Kirkby Mallory.
Yep. At the age of 12, Ada took an interest in artificial flight. She researched in some detail the structure of birds' wings and intended to write a book about it. What was the planned title of the book?
Flyology.
Yep. While Ada was in her teens, 3 of her mother's friends kept her under constant supervision and deprived her of privacy and social freedom. She disliked them so much that she gave them a name inspired by Greek mythology. What name?
3 Furies.
Yes. One of Ada's numerous private tutors was the University of London's first professor of mathematics, who advised her to temper her curiosity and eagerness and to make haste slowly. What was the name of this academic?
William Friend.
Augustus de Morgan. In June 1833, Ada visited the London home of the inventor Charles Babbage and saw a demonstration model of his first calculating machine. What name did Babbage use for it?
Difference engine.
Yes. In 1843, Ada translated a paper about Babbage's work by the Italian engineer Luigi Menabrea for publication in an English-language journal. She later added her own notes that were much longer than the original text. What was the title of the journal in which this translation appeared?
Scientific Memoirs.
Yes, Ada wrote that the potential of Babbage's analytical engine for general logical operations came from its regulation by cards like those in a loom patented by a French weaver in 1804. Who was the weaver?
Joseph Marie Jacquard.
Yeah, for a while, Ada was interested in the work of a professor at the University College who'd pioneered a method of anaesthetizing patients through a process he called magnetic sleep or mesmerism. What was his name?
John Elliotson.
Yep. Ada had 3 children, a daughter named Annabella and 2 boys. The elder boy was named Byron. What was the first name of her younger son?
Ralph.
Yep. Ada demonstrated how Babbage's analytical engine could be programmed when she broke down an equation used to calculate a particular sequence of numbers into smaller parts. This number sequence was named after which Swiss mathematician?
Jacob Bernoulli.
Bernoulli is correct. No passes. Helen, you have scored 9 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Kieran Leahy,
Your occupation?
examinations officer,
And your chosen subject?
the history of the Rugby World Cup.
In 2 minutes, starting now. Who presented the William Webb Ellis Trophy to the South African captain Francois Pienaar after the hosts won the final of the 1995 Rugby World Cup?
Nelson Mandela.
Yes, in the 2003 Rugby World Cup final at the Telstra Stadium in Sydney, England beat Australia on the last minute of extra time. How many points was their margin of victory?
3.
Yep. The World Cup originally featured 16 teams, but this was later increased to 20. The first tournament to feature 20 was in which year?
1999.
Yep. What's the surname of the three brothers who all scored tries for New Zealand in their victory against Canada at the 2019 tournament? The team's coach, Steve Hansen, said that all three of them are blessed and their parents will be very proud of them tonight, and they should be.
Barrett.
Yep. England's Jason Leonard shares the record for the most World Cup appearances with a former New Zealand captain. For both players, their 22nd and last World Cup match was a winning final. What's the name of the New Zealand player?
Richie McCaw.
Yep. At the 2019 tournament, 3 pool games were cancelled for safety reasons because of a typhoon, including England against France and New Zealand versus Italy. What was the name of the typhoon?
Hagibis.
Yeah. In 1999, South Africa's fly-half kicked 34 points, including a record 5 drop goals in their quarter-final victory against England. He managed 1 more drop goal in the semi-finals. What's his name?
Yanni de Beer.
Yeah. Japan's 34-32 victory against South Africa in 2015 is arguably the biggest upset in Rugby World Cup history. Their match-winning try 4 minutes into added time was scored by a player who'd only come onto the field as a substitute in the 79th minute. What's his name?
Karen Hesketh.
Yeah. In 1999, Diego Ormaechea became the oldest man to play in the World Cup at the age of 40, and he scored a try in his side's 27-15 win against Spain. After he retired as a player, he coached his country at the next tournament. Which country did he represent?
Uruguay.
Yep. England beat France in their 2003 semi-final, although the only try of the game was scored by France's Serge Betsen. All 24 of England's points came from 5 penalties and 3 drop goals. Who scored them?
Johnny Wilkinson.
It was indeed. No passes, Kieran. You have 10 points. What a very close round that was. Let's have a look at the scores. In joint third place, 8 points apiece, Aidan and Laura. Second place, 9 points, Helen. First place, 10 points, Kieran. So, now it is the general knowledge round. And if there's a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. But if they're tied on passes as well, then there has to be a tie break. So let's ask Aidan to join us again, please. And, Aidan, you start out with 8 points. You have 2.5 minutes of general knowledge questions, starting now. In America, the letters OJ stand for the name of what drink?
Orange juice.
Yep. British summertime ends and the clocks are put back by 1 hour on the last Sunday of which month?
October.
Yep. What wading bird with a long neck and a long curved bill has species called the glossy, the scarlet, and a sacred? The sacred was venerated in ancient Egypt.
Ibis.
Yes. The National Severe Weather Warning Service provided by the UK Met Office uses 3 colours to reflect the likely impact of dangerous weather. Red is for the most severe, followed by amber. What colour represents the lowest?
Yellow.
Yep. The Yvonne Arnaud Theatre, named after the French actress, opened in 1965 in a cathedral town in Surrey. Which one?
Woking.
Guildford. For more than 30 years, Edward Kelsey, who died in April 2019, played a retired farmer named Joe in The Archers on Radio 4. What was his character's surname?
Smith.
Grundy. Oh, Captain, my Captain is an elegy on the death of Abraham Lincoln, written by a 19th century American poet and journalist. What was his name?
Walt Whitman.
Yes. What's the surname of the Los Angeles medical examiner played by Jack Klugman in a 1970s television series?
Quincy.
Yes. Which British river flows through North Wales and to the south of Chester before it forms an estuary which empties into the Irish Sea?
The Y.
The D. What term from the French for to be reflected refers to an optical illusion caused by an atmospheric refraction of light? In a desert, it often has the appearance of a sheet of water.
Mirage.
Yes. The High King of Ireland from 1002 was killed at the Battle of Clontarf in 1014. What was his name?
Brian Beru.
Brian Boru. Yes. Olduvai Gorge is an important anthropological site because of the fossilised remains of early humans discovered there by the archaeologist Mary Leakey in 1959. The gorge is in the east of which continent?
Africa.
Yep. The oral health condition halitosis is more commonly known by what name?
Bad breath.
Yep. The Liverpool band Jerry and the Pacemakers had a series of UK #1 singles in the 1960s. What's Jerry's surname?
Marsden.
Yes. Which Scottish football club did Sir Alex Ferguson manage immediately before he joined Manchester United in 1986?
Aberdeen.
Yep. A play by Tony Kushner with the subtitle A Gay Fantasia in National Themes won Tony Awards for Best Play in 1993 and Best Revival in 2018. Which play?
Rent.
Angels in America. The wooden, steel or concrete slabs laid beneath a railway track at right angles to the rails are sometimes known as cross ties, railway ties, or in America, railroad ties. What's the usual British name for them?
Keystones.
Sleepers. No passes, Aidan. You have now 20 points.
Thank you.
And next up, Laura again, please. And Laura, you start out with 8 points as well. The score to beat is, as you have just heard, 20 points. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. Here we go. The abbreviation MPG refers to the fuel consumption of vehicles. What do the letters stand for?
Miles per gallon.
Yep, an artwork that consists of 3 panels hinged together to form a single painting is known as a triptych. What's the corresponding term for a work with 2 such panels?
Diadech.
Diptych. Which racecourse began hosting the Scottish Grand National in 1966 after the closure of the previous venue, Bogside, the year before?
Air.
Yep. In English law, slander refers to a defamatory statement that is spoken and not recorded. What corresponding term is used for a similar statement that's published in permanent form, such as a newspaper or book?
Libel.
Yeah. Which British composer won a total of 5 Oscars for his film music between 1966 and 1990? 3 of these awards were for his scores for the films Born Free, Out of Africa and Dances with Wolves.
John Williams.
John Barry. Which Far Eastern capital city was known as Edo until 1868?
Tokyo.
Yep. The tax known as Peter's Pence was paid by English landowners until it was abolished by Henry VIII in 1534. The tax was paid to the holder of which post in the Roman Catholic Church?
The Archbishop of Canterbury.
A pope. Shakespeare's Henry IV is divided into parts 1 and 2. Which of his history plays is divided into 3 parts?
Henry V.
Henry VI. Hello, possums is a catchphrase used by a comedy character created by Barry Humphrys in the 1950s. What's her name?
Edna Everage.
Yep. Hannah Glawari is the title character of a 1905 operetta by Franz Lehar. Which one?
Pass.
The 1989 book A Vision of Britain, subtitled A Personal View of Architecture, was written by a member of the British royal family. Which one?
Prince Edward.
Prince Charles. Most recipes for mock turtle and the soup made from it use the head of a young farm animal. What animal?
Sheep.
A calf. In the mid-1980s, a Hollywood star who first appeared on screen in the 1920s and starred in many films, including Double Indemnity, played Constance in the American television soap The Colbys. What was her name?
Pass.
A generic name for a type of light or diluted perfume comes from the name of a German cathedral city where it was originally made. What name?
Cologne.
Yes. What's the name of the device which consists of a pendulum on a pivot which produces a clicking noise at regular intervals? It's used by musicians to establish or keep tempo.
Pass.
High-definition video is sometimes referred to as 1080p. What does the letter P stand for?
Pixels.
Progressive. The name given to a fitness exercise designed to strengthen the abdominal muscles in which a person holds a raised press-up position for a set length of time with the toes and elbows or hands in contact with the floor likens the posture to a long, flat piece of sawn timber. What's it called?
Plank.
Yes. You had 3 passes, Laura. The metronome is used by musicians to establish tempo. Franz Lehar's operetta was The Merry Widow. And that actress who played Constance in The Colbys was Barbara Stanwyck. You have scored 15 points. And now Helen again, please. And Helen, you start out with 9 points. The score to beat is still 20. Here we go. The word Tory was originally applied to a group of 17th century Irish outlaws, but is now used as an informal name for a British political party. Which one?
Conservatives.
Yeah, from 1946 to 1992, the modern-day countries of North Macedonia and Bosnia and Herzegovina were among the constituent republics of a federal country. What was the name of this former country?
Yugoslavia.
Yep, which paper size is half the size of A4?
A5.
Yes, the actress Catherine Deneuve and the model Marie Helvin were each married to a well-known British photographer. Who?
Charles Smith.
David Bailey. A cluster of stars in the constellation Taurus is sometimes known as the Seven Sisters, after the daughters of Atlas and Pleione, who were turned into stars by Zeus in Greek mythology. What's the astronomical name for this cluster?
Pleiades.
Yes. What's the title of the television game show originally hosted by Dale Winton between 1993 and 2007, in which players aimed to fill a shopping trolley with goods against the clock? The presenter, Ryland Clark Neal, began hosting a revival of the show in 2019.
Supermarket sweep.
Yep. What name, derived from an Italian word for bran, is applied to a type of coarse wheat extracted during a milling process and used to make pasta? It's also the name of a British milk pudding made from the same grains.
Tapioca.
Semolina. Guipure is a heavy, large pattern decorative type of which fabric?
Cotton.
Lace. Arthur Howden Smith's 1924 novel, Portobello Gold, is a prequel to an adventure story by Robert Louis Stevenson. Which one?
Treasure Island.
Yeah. What's the name of the mountaintop fortress in southern Israel where Jewish resistance against Roman rule came to an end after a siege in AD 73?
Gaza.
Masada. A Royal Navy cruiser launched in 1938 and later active in the Second World War and Korean War is now a visitor attraction moored on the River Thames between London Bridge and Tower Bridge. What's the name of it?
HMS Belfast.
Yeah. A type of explosive that contains nitroglycerin and wood pulp is sometimes called blasting gelatin, but is better known by a name that's commonly abbreviated to the word jelly. What name?
Dynamite.
Gelignite. The interior angles of a pentagon add up to how many degrees?
360.
540. Father's Day is celebrated on a variety of dates around the world, but in the UK it's on the third Sunday of which month?
June.
Yep. On a standard London Monopoly board, Euston Road and the Angel Islington are two of the three properties coloured light blue. What's the name of the other one?
Pentonville Road.
Yes. The scientists Frederick Banting and John MacLeod shared the 1923 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their discovery of which hormone?
Adrenaline.
Insulin. No passes, Helen. You have 18 points. And finally, Kieran again, please. And Kieran, you start out with 10 points. If you are to get into the semi-finals, you have to do better than 20 points. Here we go. The word limo for a large car usually driven by a chauffeur is an informal abbreviation of what word?
Limousine.
Yeah, what's the name for the cement-like paste used to fill the spaces between tiles that are fixed to an interior wall?
Grout.
Yep, in the standard UK version of the board game Scrabble, two letters have a value of 8 points. They are J and...
X.
Yep. The French equivalent of the Oscar Film Award was first presented in 1976 with the trophy named after the sculptor who designed it. What's the name of the award?
Pass.
What word from the Greek for messenger is applied to the 12 disciples chosen by Jesus to preach his gospel?
Apostles.
Yep, the name for a major wind system that seasonally reverses direction is often used specifically for the heavy rains that accompany the prevailing winds from the southwest in southern Asia during the summer months. What name?
Monsoon.
Yep, a legal contract signed by someone as a promise not to reveal confidential information about a business deal is often called an NDA. What do the letters NDA stand for?
Non-disclosure agreement.
Yep. Which American president led the United States into the First World War? He stated to Congress in April 1917, the world must be made safe for democracy.
Woodrow Wilson.
Yes. In 1948, Bertrand Russell delivered Authority in the Individual, the first of an annual series of radio lectures given by prominent public figures. The lectures are collectively named after which broadcasting executive?
Dimbleby.
Reith, Lord Reith. Che Guevara was captured and killed in 1967 in which South American country?
Argentina.
Bolivia. The early 20th century ballet Les Sylphides is set to orchestral arrangements by a composer born near Warsaw in 1810. Which one?
Chopin.
Yes. In 2014, Glen Eagles became the second Scottish golf course to host the Ryder Cup. The first was a course near Edinburgh, which hosted the tournament in 1973. Which course?
Troon.
Muirfield. Which American writer of popular fiction who died in 2019 at the age of 91 was often called the Queen of Sex and Shopping? Her best-selling novels include Scruples and Princess Daisy.
Winter.
Judith Krantz. In 2012, the BBC broadcast the first series of a period drama based on the memoirs of a nurse who lived and worked with a community of Anglican nuns in London's East End in the 1950s. What's the title of the series?
Pass.
Aqua fortis translates from Latin as strong water and is an archaic name for which acid?
Acetic.
Nitric acid. Which book by Michael Mulpurgo was adapted for the stage by Nick Stafford in 2007? The production features life-sized animal puppets operated by visible puppeteers.
Warhorse.
Yes, the Crowle and the Medlock are tributaries of a river that, for part of its length, forms a boundary between Manchester city centre and Salford. What river?
The Mersey.
The Irwell. You had 2 passes. Call the Midwife is the name of that television series. And César is the Césars, if you like, are the French equivalent of the Oscar. You have, Kieran, 19 points. What a close one. Let's have a look at the final scores. In 4th place, 15 points, Laura. 3rd place, 18 points, Helen. 2nd place, 19 points, Kieran. First place, 20 points, Aidan, which means that he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. And if you'd like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.
I was very nervous sort of sitting down, and then the added pressure of going first, I think, sort of got me more nervous. And when the first question came and I was listening to John speak, and it took me about 3/4 of the way to actually remember the most basic fact. And once I got that first one, it all sort of calmed down.
Williams was born in London in 1926. He had a difficult relationship with his father, Charlie, but was very close to his mother. What was her first name?
Louisa.
Yeah.
My specialist subject was Kenneth Williams. I chose it because I sort of grew up with the Carry On films. I think they're a sort of a throwback to a bygone era, but certainly growing up, my parents have loved old British comedy. Kenneth Williams, beyond the Carry-Ons, was a fascinating character, learning more about his life and what motivated him. He was a fascinating person to learn about. And for me, that was what I wanted from a specialist subject. I didn't want something that I was going to find dry learning.
No passes, Aidan. You have scored 8 points.
Thank you. I'm sure the reaction at my school will be incredible to me being on Mastermind. I'm sure the children will be really excited to see a teacher on TV.
First place, 20 points, Aidan, which means that he goes through to the semi-finals.
I think for anyone who's interested in quizzes, Mastermind is sort of still the holy grail of quiz shows. There's sort of, I think that black chair is synonymous with quiz. When you think of quizzes, it's probably one of the first 2 or 3 things that come to your mind, the black chair. And for me, it is fulfilling a life aim to come here, even if I'd have come 4th today. To be able to sit in that black chair is fulfilling a dream I've had for a long time. And for me, it's something that I'm thrilled that I will be able to do it again.